Okay. Hello, my name is Neve. I have started to make videos based on my experience of Americamp, which is a company which helps people from all over the world fly to America for 2 months to spend as a camp counsellor, because America is very heavy on camps for girls and boys, young kids, etc., and it all happens over summer. So yeah, I decided to take part in June this year, so I'm doing it for summer 2019, but I applied in June, which is quite early, and so far I've had an amazing experience with Americamp and the whole thing really has been really easy for me. I've got placed. This is going to be my placed video, my experience of being placed. I got placed last weekend at the Manchester camp fairs. Overall the experience was a lot easier than I was expecting, so I thought I'd do a video about it because I want to help people who are potentially applying themselves, just to see how the different experiences can happen, but also you've just got to remember that no one's experience is going to be the same. My experience happened to be quite easy in my opinion, but no one's going to have the same experience as me. Even if you get placed in like January or March, like that still like won't make a difference because you still will be going, so you've just got to keep a positive attitude about it. And it is very early in the hiring season, so not many camps are hiring right now, so it just happened to be that I went to the Manchester camp fairs and I ended up getting hired, so it was just one of those things. So yeah, I applied in June. I did my application for about 2 months, and then I finished my application in August, and then my application was sent off to the US in September. I didn't actually hear anything back from any camps over like via the internet or like online, because I'm not sure why, but yeah, I didn't hear anything back. So obviously that's one thing that I didn't really experience, was I didn't have like an interview organised like online or anything like that. No camp reached out to me other than when I went to the camp fair. So yeah, I had literally no experience until I went to the camp fair of like speaking with any camps. I had done a little bit of research when I went to the camp fair of which camps were going to be there, but I actually didn't remember any of the ones that I liked when I got there, so I actually just ended up going to like 3 random ones, and like that's how it happened. So yeah, basically I went up to Manchester on the Friday night, spent the night in Manchester, and then I was at the camp fair on the Saturday. So when I got there, the venue is really like chilled. It's really nice. It's kind of like very casual, but in a nice like organised way, if that makes sense. So it didn't feel like too like in your face interviews, like formal or anything like that. And everyone that I spoke to was super helpful. Everyone from Americamp was so nice. Gotta give them credit where credit's due. They really make you feel comfortable. They really help you out as much as they can. If you have any questions, they really help. And of course they are super generous with what they give you, because we got free McDonald's that day. There was about 100 like helpings of McDonald's, and I literally had about 3 cheeseburgers in a row, which I do not recommend. But yeah, that's how it was. So yes, that was one thing that I felt was really kind of them, is that they provided like free McDonald's. I mean, like, you can't go wrong. So yes, a girl, I made friends with her the day before. We all went to the German markets in Manchester together, so I met this girl and we went to the venue together, and then we were queuing up. When we got inside, we had a little chat with this guy. I'm not sure what his name was, but he was super nice. He talked through it. He was like, if you've got any questions, let us know. Just go to the camps that you've like researched into, or you haven't researched, then just have a look around. So I'd done research, but not at a massive level, because I just didn't feel like I wanted to do that. I didn't want to walk in and be like, I only want to look at this camp or these ones or anything like that, because I just feel like that's closing yourself off. And obviously if you want to do that, if you want to have favourites, that's up to you, but I just didn't feel like that was the right way to go. So I walked towards one camp and started queuing there, because I looked at the sheet that they gave us about all the camps that were there and what they were looking for and what roles they were hiring for, and the camp that I first went to had theatre on the list. But as I walked over there, a guy came out and said he'd just got hired for musical theatre. So we all kind of looked at each other and were like, oh, it's not likely that we're going to now get musical theatre as well. So eventually one of the women came out and she said to us like that they were predominantly looking for equestrian counsellors. So if we had any experience with horses or anything like that, animal care, then we should have a chat. But if not, they kind of like knew that they weren't going to be hiring anyone else. I did say, I was like, I do have a bit of animal care experience, and I had put that on my application as one of my secondary skills because I do have a bit of animal experience. So I did have a chat with them. I ended up like chatting to both the women, and they were like, we'd love to like have you for an interview if you don't find like a musical theatre role, because they knew, like I said to them, like predominantly I do want to be a performing arts like counsellor or something along those lines. So they said that they didn't want to like stop me from having that opportunity to see any camps that were hiring for that, so that if I didn't find anything, come back and see what happened. So I left. That was like a really quick experience. It was like a minute. So then I went to round the corner because it was all open plan, but there was like little corners of the room. So I went around the corner and there was like 3 camps, like stands, one here, and one here. And I went to the middle one because the line was like quite empty, to be honest. So I went to the middle one and I spoke to a woman there who was super nice again. Everyone was so nice on the day. It was really nice to see. And she said, she was asking me, she had like a list. She was asking me like my skills. She was asking me my experience with kids. She was asking me like a few just general questions. It wasn't like the interview because she was just like the pre-interview person. So I was speaking to her and she was like, oh, you have archery skill. Would you be interested in being a specialist in archery? And I said no, because my archery skills are 3rd on my list of like my whole skills, because I did archery but not to a level that I would feel comfortable teaching it. It is quite a dangerous sport and I wouldn't feel comfortable teaching it when I know I'm not at a level that should happen. So I said no, and then she asked me about being a dance teacher, and I did think about it, but then obviously again, like dance personally is my weakest of the 3 performing skills. I did have an injury, like a back injury 2 to 3 years ago, and it stopped me from being able to dance properly. So I don't think I'd be the right person again to teach dance. If it was a performing arts teacher in general, then I would have took it, but it just wasn't, so I said no. So then she said if we had a theatre role, then she would literally have hired me on the spot, but because she didn't, she said, I don't think we should offer you the dance or the archery role because it just doesn't seem like the best fit, which is completely accurate. Like I wouldn't have took them, you know, if she had offered me them. So I said thank you very much, but I'm gonna, you know, see what else is out there. So I then went in the queue to the right of that camp. So it was like, here was the middle camp and then that one. So I went to that one, and I saw on the list that it said theatre as part of their role, like what they were hiring for. So I was in this queue. It was really long, this one. There was about like 6 or 7 people waiting. And I was in the queue and one of the people who worked for Americamp tapped me and was like, why don't you go over there? And she pointed at the camp that was like, the stand that was like on the left of the middle camp. So the one that was like in the same area but on the far side. And it was like pretty much empty. There was about 2 or 3 people there. So I was like, okay, well it would take less time than queuing up in this camp like queue. And I was thinking about it and then I was like, you know what, I might as well. What do I have to lose? So I walked over there and the camp was called Camp Waiko and it's based in New Hampshire, and it's an all-girls camp. So when I walked over there, I was immediately speaking to this girl who was super, super nice. I cannot remember her name 100%. I do think it was Hannah, but I can't remember, so I don't want to get that wrong. But I think it was Hannah, and she was so lovely. She was really easy to talk to, really welcoming, and she was just asking me general questions at first, and then she asked me some more like in-depth ones. She asked me like how I would let people know if I wasn't okay at camp, because obviously I spoke to her about acting and stuff, and so she got the feeling that like because I can act, I could easily hide it, which is something that I actually am really good at. I can easily hide when I'm not okay with something or when I'm just not feeling right. So it was really good that she like was able to think about that and like thought about like different things other than just the general questions. So it was interesting to be able to answer questions like that I hadn't originally thought of. So yeah, she was asking me like things like more in depth like that, and then she ended up getting her kind of manager, I guess, the assistant director to the camp, Carly, and she is American, so she's actually like lives in the States, obviously. So she was speaking to me, so we ended up having like a proper interview then. So obviously I'd like passed the first like part of the interview with Hannah, and so Carly ended up having a proper interview with me. So I sat down with Carly and had a full-on interview. It was very professional, but also very easy to do. Like I didn't feel uncomfortable at all. It was so nice how I was speaking to them. It just felt like I'd known them for a while, which was something I really wanted to feel when I was like in an interview. So immediately I just felt, okay, I could easily go to this camp, and I knew that if they offered me a place I would say yes. Like straight away I knew that, because it just felt right. So she asked me some really interesting questions. She asked me like the general ones, like my experience with kids, my experience with in theatre, and other stuff like that. And then she asked me some interesting ones about how I would treat a 14-year-old differently to a 7-year-old. Their camp ranges from 7 to 15, so that was like a really interesting question, because I had to like figure out how to word it without sounding like I was going to treat them really differently. But you obviously do have to treat 7-year-olds differently to 14-year-olds. It's just, you know, common sense. So that was an interesting question. And then she also asked me things like, what's an experience I've had with a kid outside of my family who is like between the age range. So there was that. And then, yeah, I mean, it was just a really nice interview. I felt really comfortable the whole time. And like when she was asking me like certain questions, like I actually didn't like have nothing to say. I knew what I was going to say, which I think some people might have like struggled with. So I think one thing I would recommend is like always, even if you don't actually know an answer, or you don't fully think your answer is like makes sense or whatever, do try and like get your point across, and just like always make it like, try and make it sound like you know what you're talking about. Because if someone asks you something and you go, oh, I don't know, like all of that, then it's not going to bode well. Like it's going to look worse than if you say, I'm not sure if this is the right answer, but I'd do this, and then maybe I'd try this, or I'd just go and ask for help, or do this. Like you can make it sound like you do know what you're talking about, even if you don't. In interviews, it's really important that you don't come across like you struggle to get points across, just because it's not going to look like you're the right person then for a camp, because they want someone who's going to be able to talk to kids easily and not be like afraid to make a conversation, and stuff like that. Especially for a specialist role, you've got to be able to teach people, so you've got to be able to form words easily and find it easy to talk in front of loads of people, which is one of my strengths. So yeah, so basically the funny part about this all is that when I was at this, obviously as you can probably tell, I got hired by Wyco, and I'm super happy, but the whole time I thought I was getting hired for a general counsellor, because they didn't have theatre on their list of what they were hiring for, and I didn't realise that they actually put the things that they were like most looking for on the list, and then like there was secondary things as well, but they obviously do, because like they ended up hiring me as a theatre counsellor. So the whole time I was like, oh, I'm going to get hired as general counsellor, because like I had a feeling I was going to get hired, because it was going super well, and I just felt like a really good like immediate connection with the camp and like the two girls. Like it just felt right. I mean, I shouldn't call her a girl, she's like a woman, but yeah. So I just knew I was going to get hired, but like I just didn't think it was going to be for theatre. I didn't actually think they were hiring for that. So yeah, so then she ended up saying, we'd love to have you at our camp. And I was like, oh, as a general counsellor? And she was like, no, theatre. And I was like, oh my god, I look like such an idiot, but I was like so happy. I was like, oh my god, thank you so much. Like if you're bowing down, I was like, thank you. So yeah, so basically it was an amazing experience. I'm so glad I got hired by the camp. I'm so glad I went over from the other camp to that camp to like have that experience, because otherwise I might have ended up getting hired completely different. Obviously I'd still be happy, but who knows like if I'd be as happy. So yeah, it was a really good day for me. I did get hired really quickly. I got hired within about an hour of being there, so about 1 p.m. I was hired, and then I literally spent the rest of the afternoon eating and chatting with people, and just like trying not to get in the way, because we were just like sat at a table like randomly. So yeah, it was great. I do think they definitely had an easier experience than some would have had. I did see a few people who I felt really bad for, who like weren't finding it very easy to have like interviews and weren't finding it easy to get their like points across. And I can't really obviously give advice massively, because obviously it depends on the person that you are and how you can come across in interviews. But I would say just try and let your personality shine through as much as it can, because it's personality that they're looking for. They don't really, as much as they will care about your skills, they won't predominantly care about your skills. If you can get yourself across in a good way, and you can come across as likeable and friendly and approachable and a good role model, I would say that is one of the most important things, because they don't want people who are gonna like either find it really difficult to interact or just won't let their actual personality come through. They want people who are gonna be an asset. They want people who are going to be an asset to their camp. So I think that's what helped me, is that my personality actually shone through. And I was a little bit worried because it sounds stupid, but I wear a lot of makeup all the time, and I was a little bit worried at first. I was like, should I not wear that much on Saturday, because I don't want it to come across as like I'm really glam. I don't like to rough it or anything, even though that's not true. Like, I can easily not wear makeup for like 4 days in a row, but I didn't want it to come across like that. But then at the same time, I was like, I don't want to also come across as fake, because in my, like, deep down in my heart, I love to put makeup on. It's like an actual passion of mine. So I didn't want to wear barely any makeup and be like the fake version of myself, where I could put the normal amount of makeup that I wear on and let my personality show that I'm not just this like glam, like girly girl. Do you know what I mean? So you've got to be authentic. It's really important that you are authentic in the end, because that's what actually appeals to the camp managers, etc. You don't go in with a favourite camp. I didn't, thank God, but I do know people who were really set on certain camps, and like it's great because some of them actually got those camps. But I think you've got to go in with an open mind as much as possible. Even if you do have a favourite camp, you've got to think, I might not get hired by this camp. They might not be hiring for me, or they might not need someone, etc. Or they just might not say yes, and you've got to accept that. They might already have someone of your personality, or they might already have someone similar to you. So you've got to kind of go in with a really open mind, and also not be too sensitive. And it's obviously easier said than done, but you've got to have a kind of thick skin if you want to like not be really upset over things like that. Because, you know, if I'd been rejected by Waiko, I wouldn't have started crying, because it's not like I'd set my heart on them or like said I'm only going to this camp or anything like that. So it's just one of those things you've got to learn to do. You've got to learn to be able to take rejection or criticism, and it's not even like they would reject you in a bad way. They say it so nicely. They're not never trying to be mean, but they have to just hire for what they need, and it's just one of those things in life. So that's pretty much it, I think. One funny thing is that, as I said, I had done a bit of research into some of the camps that were going, and I had put an asterisk by the names of the camps that I liked the websites of or the videos of. And I got home and I ended up finding the thing, because it was like my Americamp book, like notebook. And I like went to it because I wanted to start writing about Waiko, and I flicked through it and I saw the list that I'd written, and I'd only done about like 8 of the camps, and I'd put an asterisk by Waiko, Camp Waiko Suta. And it's so mad because like I didn't even know that I was gonna get, like, I literally didn't even know when I walked in which camps I'd put the asterisks by, because I couldn't remember. I'd literally done it like 3 weeks before, and like obviously they all have really similar names. Like a lot of them are with W, a lot of them like have like Nor at the end, N-A-W, which is strange. But yeah, they all have similar names, so I literally couldn't remember off the top of my head which ones I'd liked. So yeah, it was crazy, and I saw it and I was like, it's literally meant to be. I really, really strongly recommend going to the camp fairs if you can, because they actually help you so much more than you realise, and even if you don't get hired, you'll get something out of it, because the people at Americamp can help you out and like help you feel better about yourself if you don't get hired, and if you do, they make you feel amazing. So yeah, that is one thing I would say, is definitely try and go if you can. I'm going to be making lots more videos about my Americamp experience, such as like the visa process, packing, like money, especially because I think that's one thing that a lot of people think about, is how much money they're going to bring, how much they're going to spend, etc. And I am going to try and vlog my experience in America as much as I can. Obviously I can't get any children in it because it's safeguarding, so that will have to be like during the training week and also like after the kids have gone to bed, etc. Yeah, that's basically it. I am going to be like making a lot more videos about Americamp. I think I'm going to start vlogging because I want to try and get into it before I go to America. And yeah, if you want to see more, please subscribe. Going to America with Americamp, please let me know in the comments below, because I would love to make friends with people. If you're going to Waco, definitely comment below, and I really want to speak to you if you have been or you go, whatnot. So yeah, just let me know, and please leave a comment if you liked it and if you'd like to see more, and subscribe if you haven't already. Thank you for watching. Goodbye. And I don't know why I just like pushed that in just because it was annoying me. But yeah, I got to accept that. You've got to, oh my god, my nose is really itchy. You've got to accept that. You've got to know, like, more, please subscribe. If you are going to Americamp, oh, that doesn't make any sense. If you are